Hello and welcome to Lindsay Akashic Channel. I am your host, Lindsay, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about the Akashic Records and what they are, and what it's like to work in them, how I access them, and what it feels like to receive information. So first, if you go to my welcome video, I give the introduction of what the Akashic Records are, but I'll repeat that here. So the Akashic Records are the electromagnetic imprint of everything that's ever happened in the universe. So the universe has its own information field that is the Akashic realm, where we can draw information from. We can draw wisdom and information from this universal field, the Akashic realm. Now, there are lots of different ways that we can access the Akashic Records. You might do it without even realizing it now. You are probably resonating with them if you have found yourself curious about the Akashic Records. You're feeling a call, you're feeling a pull to the Akashic Records, and maybe you already work in them. A fast track way to access the records is by words, vibrations of words, right? And I was taught to use an opening prayer, and it's called the Pathway Prayer Process, and it's by Linda Howe. So Linda Howe is my teacher's teacher. And so I was taught to access the Akashic Records by saying an opening prayer and a closing prayer. That's, again, the Pathway Prayer Process by Linda Howe. So oftentimes when I'm giving a reading to save time, I open the records off camera, and if I'm doing a live reading, I'll hit record while the records are open, and I'll be sharing the information that way. Or I'll open the records and I'll take notes in a journal asking my questions, and then I'll share that information with you after. All just because saving time. But I specifically like to use an opening and closing prayer. I find that to be more direct and clean and clear for me. So another interesting thing that I have noticed as I've worked in the Akashic Records is that we tend to be in a specific vibration, a cleaner, a clearer, when we are clicked into our truth and being in this clean, clear alignment with ourselves, we tend to access the Akashic Records, and people in flow states tend to also access the Akashic Records. And so that, like artists very often access the Akashic Records without realizing it. Writers, anytime that you might access a flow state, you might be clicking into the Akashic Records and receiving this higher guidance, these divine truths and wisdom from the Akashic Records. So there's so many ways to get into the Akashic Records. And just to be clear, when someone is channeling from the Akashic Records, this is not psychic channeling. This is spiritual channeling. There's a difference. So psychic channeling has more of the person involved, the person who's reading for you. That's coming from them, right? So the information is coming from them. And when it's coming from the Akashic Records, this is coming from spiritual channeling. This is coming from source. This is coming from the Akashic realm. And so the information is not coming from me. And so that's why when I'm receiving the information, when I'm receiving the guidance, I am just sharing what I'm seeing. I'm sharing what I'm feeling. Sometimes it's an emotional experience that comes up for me to share with you to help convey the message that's coming through. Sometimes I will be seeing visuals. That's why you often see me with my eyes closed. I'm receiving information. Sometimes I see letters that turn into words. Sometimes letters turn into words quickly, so I'm saying specific words to you. And then there's an array of experiences that someone might experience, feel, see, etc., while they're channeling information for whoever's being read. So that's the difference. And to keep it like super, super simple, I like to think of the Akashic Records is a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So the information speaks to us from the soul's perspective. It's speaking to us on this very deep level that resonates with us in a way that sometimes can be difficult to describe, but it is our highest perspective. It is our highest truth, right? And One way that I was shown from the Akashic Records to describe the Akashic Records was if you look at the top of a mountain, and half of the mountain is in the light, is in the sun, and the other half of the mountain is in the dark, is in the shadow. The Akashic Records is this apex at the very top. There's this little light. It is the highest perspective. It is the apex of our light and our shadow, our light and our dark, right? And that is our highest truth. The balance of light and dark is our highest truth. Not one without the other, but both. And so that's the information that comes from that balance. There's no judgment in the Akashic Records. And the more you work in the Akashic Records, the more that past lives will come up, and you'll realize how many lives you've lived, thousands and thousands of lives, and the different experiences that we've had. And the reason that we say there isn't any judgment is because we have been everybody and everybody has been us. So on some level, we know each other. We've been each other at different times throughout our lifetimes, all of our lifetimes. And so judgment is pointless, right? So this is the information that's coming from the Akashic Records. And this is why I absolutely love working in them. They are the highest perspective. They are ultimate truth. They are higher guidance specifically for us. And the information meets us at the consciousness that we are at in this exact moment, whether that's you or me or a particular topic or subject, an industry in this moment. And, you know, that consciousness is constantly evolving. It has a past, it has a present, and it has a future. And so the Akashic Records has this incredibly divine intelligence to connect with and understand that ever-changing consciousness. And so that is another rundown of what the Akashic Records are. And I will share more in the future, and certainly let me know in the comments if you have specific questions. I would also like to add, lastly, that the best way, there's a key to getting really juicy information from the records, and it has to do with how you phrase your questions, right? Yes or no questions are just like flat, they fall flat. You know, it's not, yes, the Akashic Records can answer them. Oftentimes something's a no. I'll see like an X in front of my face, which is telling me no. But beyond that, the best way to phrase questions to get like a really juicy answer is by asking how, why, and what questions, right? So usually I offer, you know, if I'm working with someone, they share their backstory. As they're sharing backstory, I'm getting information. I'm seeing things that are answering or giving another perspective to what they're saying. And then they ask their questions and I'll be getting information. And sometimes if there's like so much coming through, I'll help them rephrase their question to make it super direct. And a way to make it super direct is like how, why, and what. And you get these really juicy answers from that. So that's the rundown of the Akashic Records. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions about anything Akashic Records related. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care.